Well, baby Duncan. So in my third part of this series, on Cain, the Lamanites, and the reptilian alien race, and the misconceptions of that the Bible and the Book of Mormon and those books are actually talking about a person's race, human race, and their skin color, versus the dark-skinned alien membrane of scales that comes upon people that are possessed by the reptilian, by people that are possessed by the reptilian aliens. The reptilian aliens have been here from pretty much as humans know as the beginning of time. They've also been seen as fishes, such as the ancient sea god Nemo. These things can be traced back to Sumerian, or even Atlantean, or the lost continent of Mu, and all these different ancient things. Not all of reptilians and serpent aliens have a negative, for lack of a better word, agenda, but many of them do, and the ones spoken of in the Book of Mormon, when a darkness would come over the people. If you have read those books, and this is the most important thing when doing so, pretty much with anything, is that you have to be open to your spiritual eye, and you have to see things with the spiritual eye. All of the witnesses of the Book of Mormon that saw the golden plates saw them with their spiritual eye, and were taken up into a different frequency vibration. And one way I recommend to really fine-tune these talents, which are each and every human's birthright, is to scry with peep stones or scrying stones. I recommend either finding your favorite type of quartz crystal, or obsidian works very well, but any stone or rock that you feel very connected to, you gaze into it, and let your astral eye and your spiritual eye open, and you'll have many revelations come to you, and I really recommend it. It's a great way to tune into things. For the urban setting, a place, or if you don't have stones, you can either look into it. I recommend getting a picture frame, painting the backside of the glass black, and then putting the picture frame back into the frame, and you can scry into that. Or just turning your television to a station with lots of static, toning down the volume, and staring into the static is also another highly recommended way of scrying and letting your mind trance and be open to the spiritual eye. These are how most Gnostic books have been either written or translated or inspired from. And that is how, in this new dispensation, that the whistle has been blown on the reptilian, bloodthirsty race headed by, known by most people in this dispensation as Yahweh, who is the ruler of the last dispensation. These can be seen as, the last dispensation can be seen as a patriarchal dispensation. And to better define it and let you know what I'm talking about, we will talk about the three main dispensations that have happened upon this earth since humankind has at least had a verbal tradition that has been passed down. The first known dispensation to humans can be seen as, in the pinnacle and peak of its society, can be seen as the Atlantean or Sumerian Atlantean type of dispensation. Well, the matriarchal or feminine or heavenly mother, spiritual connection with the spirit and with Mother Earth. That is the first dispensation. That's where a good percentage of our pagan type rites and things come from, but we're talking about more of a polytheistic thing with multiple gods, and the heavenly mother or the goddess reigns supreme. There was never really a written tradition during these times, as far as we know, although Atlantis and those cultures may have had something that we haven't discovered, but most of the things that have been discovered can be disputed of their authenticity. The second dispensation, which can be known, and is known to the living Mormons of the Latter-day Order of the Morning Stars, can be seen as, and is known as, the last dispensation. This was the dispensation of the patriarchal orders. This is where all the Abrahamic religions come from, such as the patriarchal Judaism, Christianity, the Muslims, and such. These are one of the very first forms of it was Zoroastrianism, and religions that reflect dualism, right and wrong, evil and good. These are phallic religions. Christianity, Muslims and Jews are the remnants of this patriarchal type of mindset, which was the last dispensation and worships the dying god and the dead god, and they worship dead gods. In the Egyptian pantheon, we can see these things so far as Isis being the matriarchal first dispensation. The last dispensation, the second dispensation, is like the Osirian, with Osiris, who was killed and destroyed. And then, the new dispensation, which is now and today. Right now is the new dispensation. The last dispensation ended with things such as Joseph Smith translating the Book of Mormon and restoring the gospel in a patriarchal mindset. And the small things that were revealed back in his day proves how important it is for these things to be revealed in their due time. The very few things Joseph Smith did reveal back in those times, surprisingly, ended with him being martyred and killed. Like in the Salem witch trial type things, and the rest of the Mormons having to run from genocidal maniacs that were mad about them practicing freedom of religion. But the new dispensation is the resurrection and the union of the twin god/goddess. It represents the overcoming of the dead gods and shedding your shells or your dark skins or your reptilian scales. This has nothing to do with a person's skin color per se, in a literal sense. We of the LOA and history know that if there was a historical Jesus or a historical David or Solomon, that they were black people, so we are not prejudiced against blacks in any which way or form, because those early prophets and gods, although even to Muhammad, were black men. So sorry to disappoint you if that type of thing shocks you or disappoints you. Back to the reptilian black scales. These are talked about both in the Book of Mormon and in the Bible, and things as being a curse that are put upon people or a sign. But even that can be argued and is part of our inner doctrine, and can be talked about in this dispensation, but we don't like to talk about it much because the very things I'm talking about here are very controversial and can cause a lot of controversy. But let's just say that most of the things that you read that are books of the last dispensation, or the Osirian, or the father patriarchal phallus dispensation, or back-assward, or ass-backward, okay? It's just like there are things revealed in there that say the good shall be bad and the bad shall be good, and those things that people worship as the good are actually the things that are destructive upon humankind, and vice versa. So just remember, when you're reading those books, it's best to think backwards or in a negative type mindset. So if Yahweh is supposed to be the good guy, I would most likely be suspect that maybe he is the true villain. And I also would be suspect that anybody that looks more villainous could be our heroes. Just a suggestion, and keep that in mind. Again, open your spiritual eye. I hope this shed a little bit of light on true Mormonism versus the LDS. Again, I'd like to say that I do believe that Brigham Young was part of the reptilian alien race, and that there were both Nephites and Lamanites that were succumbed to the black scales of darkness, but that we can overcome this alien obsession upon us if we are to turn on our spiritual eyes and give ourselves up to our Heavenly Mother. And I say these things in the name of the morning stars and our Heavenly Amen. Son Amen. Sons Amen.